Hi there, this is Elise Bennin, your marketing mentor. And this is the podcast for you if and only if you are ready to leave the feast or famine syndrome behind, and I mean for good. You know, one of the things I love most about the work I do as a business coach, helping creative people build a business and, more importantly, actually the inner strength to make it successful. In fact, my favorite part is seeing the potential in them before they see it in themselves. I never know in advance who will take the ball and run with it, or in the case of today's guest, Val Roskens Tews, and her butterfly strategy, who will fly with it. When I first met Val, she was very soft-spoken, even a little meek and self-effacing, so I wondered if she'd be able to pull this off. But I know that I never know, and I thought she could. And well, indeed, she has. Val is one of my star students, always ready to experiment, to act on my suggestions, even if she couldn't see how it would work. And since then, she has far surpassed my suggestions and built her own framework, which she calls the butterfly strategy, which she mapped onto the simplest marketing plan in our call. And let's not forget her content ecosystem, which we didn't even get to talk about today. So there will definitely be a part 2. But for now, listen and learn. Hello, Val. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. And this is your first time. I'm sure there will be more because you're so much into the content lately. But before we get there, introduce yourself, please, and give us a little background.
Okay. I'm Val Roskens Tews, and it's actually spelled Tews, not at all like you expect it to be.
Mm-hmm.
I craft tailored, ready-to-post content for Christian entrepreneurs and coaches and help them build a community of business friends, collaborators, and clients. For those who don't like to write, don't have time to write, or don't know what to write, I turn scattered ideas into content that is authentic to them.
Beautiful. I love that. And yeah, just give us a little bit about your background. You've been alive for a while. What have you done all your life, Val? In the short version, please.
The short version. I have had a passion for writing since I was in second grade when my teacher introduced me to storytelling. And all growing up, I knew I wanted to be a writer. I haven't, not all my jobs have been that, but a lot of them have. And a few years ago, I started my own copywriting business. That had been a dream for a long time. And I'm enjoying it, having fun. And I absolutely love highlighting other people and helping them shine through writing.
So that's kind of interesting to me that you seem to have found a way to not sell copywriting or focus so much on that as much as sharing other people's ideas. Talk a little bit about that.
I love to write, and I discovered that I realized there's a lot of people who don't like to write. Just like numbers are not my specialty, but for some people, they love numbers. I love words. And in being in different groups and hearing people talk, I discovered that I could help people and serve them by helping them share their message, because I believe everyone has a story to share. Everyone has a message. But I was discovering people weren't sharing it because they look at the blank screen and just freeze and not know what to write. And it's like, hey, I can help you. Talk to me. I'll help you share your message.
Right. And actually, I mean, that description applies to copywriters, other copywriters too. And that's part of what I want to talk with you about, which is the fact that you not only help others share their content, you're really good and have always been since I've known you at sharing your own content. How do you think about that?
I love to write, and I'm always,
The answer to every question is
well,
I
it is,
love to write.
it's
I love
because
that.
I am always just day to day. I'll go, oh, that'd make a good post. Just day to day
Mm.
things. And I'm always
Mhm.
thinking, oh, I got to write that down. Oh, I like that idea. Just, I don't
Mhm.
know. It's just always, my mind's always turning that way.
Mhm.
And I realize, not everybody thinks that way.
Mhm. But
So,
could. I think other people could. That's why I wanted to have you on the podcast, because what you're describing is so natural to you. And I think it is potentially natural to other people, including other writers who love to write, but somehow get blocked on their own writing, their own content.
I think it's sometimes just finding everyday things.
Mm.
Like I did a post one time about washing dishes, dirty dishes,
Mhm.
but I made it a reverse gratitude post in that, okay, I have dirty dishes. That means I had food to eat. That
Mm.
means we had a grocery store to buy food. That means we had money to buy food. That means there were farmers who grew the food. And I just kept going back and back and back. And that just made me grateful for my dirty dishes.
I love that. But it also sounds like you do a version of what I do or what I say about myself, which is that I thrive in response, meaning that I am always listening for ideas. I don't rack my brain for them. I don't look for them. They just come to me from the world. And like you're describing, everyday situations. Does that resonate with you?
Oh, absolutely. And I hear your voice daily saying,
Mm.
listen to the market. And when
Mhm.
something doesn't go right, who cares? That has
That's
been
right.
the best phrase
Mm.
because you try something and you never know sometimes until you try it. And sometimes it's, wow, that really worked well. And that didn't work so great. What else can I do?
Mhm.
And that has helped so much because it's like, who does care? Yes, you have to care. I'm not saying that, but
Right.
don't get so hung up. I love how you say make your business a laboratory because that has been a huge mind shift change for me.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. But you have done something different than most of the people I work with. And so, again, that's why I wanted you to come on the podcast. And it started, from my point of view, with what you call the butterfly strategy. You seemed to very early on come up with like a framework, other people might call it, or a process that you use to help people. And then you've used that and promoted the butterfly strategy. And now it's a book, which we're going to talk about. But just talk in general about the butterfly strategy first. Like, where did that come from? I know you're going to say, I love butterflies.
Well, yes. It actually started with you because you asked me, what, 4 or 5 years ago to be
Mm,
on one of your 21-day challenge
that's right.
sessions. And when you asked me, first time I think I said no, and you asked me again, and I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, why are you asking me? I don't know anything. And so
Mm,
then it's like, okay, I got to come up with something to say.
mm,
And in doing so, that made me reflect my journey so far at that time. And what I discovered in doing, because I kind of like wrote out my thoughts, I actually created an article, again, writing for me so that I could be more prepared to talk with you. And I discovered that the biggest thing that made a difference for me on LinkedIn was community. And as I've been helping people with their content creation, I discovered that some of them, once they posted, were like not even responding to comments
mm.
made on their posts, nor were they commenting to other people's posts. And then they were wondering why nothing was happening on their page. People weren't realizing the importance of connecting and commenting, and that posting comments just isn't enough, especially now with the emphasis that LinkedIn has on like focusing on higher interaction value. Is your content relevant and are you like talking with other people? One quote that I heard that I think really helps this is Lanier Johnson said it this way: posts introduce you, but comments build you.
I like that.
So, it's people have to know who you are, and they're not just going to know from your posts.
Mm-hmm. And just as a little aside for those who like what Lanier said, I did a podcast episode recently with her all about LinkedIn also. So
yeah,
that
she
you can.
is fabulous, and you can learn I've learned so much from her. So
But you know what I was just thinking as you were talking about your experience with LinkedIn and what you noticed is that you seem to have also kind of become a bit of a LinkedIn expert yourself. Would you say that?
no.
Okay, fine.
No.
All right, but come back to the butterfly then, right? I asked you to, I invited you. You said no. I invited you again. You said yes. And then you prepared and you had to come up with something. And where did the butterfly come from?
Well, the butterfly came in because the short version of my company name, my business name is Butterfly Copywriting. And I lost my dad 6 months earlier before my short version, before my granddaughter was born. And one afternoon, I was outside with my granddaughter watching her and her brothers play. And this beautiful monarch butterfly came and like almost kissed her cheek and then flew up into the tree and hovered there for a few more minutes. This is in Southwest Minnesota where monarchs are not, you don't see a lot of them. And that immediately made me think of my dad, that he was reminding me that there was still love and hope in the world and I needed to share that. And that's why I named my company Butterfly Copywriting. And just in the last couple of years, I've really been focusing on using the butterfly as an analogy, as a metaphor, so to speak. And as I'm learning more about the exquisite design of the butterfly, it came to me to use the butterfly itself as a way to remember what I call the 3 C's, which is strategic connections, thoughtful comments, and authentic content. So the body equals connecting, because you have to connect with people in order to relate to them. The left wing is commenting, because you have to interact with them and talk with them. And then the right wing is content. So I call that the butterfly strategy, because it's the combination of all 3 that is needed to be effective.
And will you acknowledge that that's a framework?
Yes, that I will. Expert, no. Framework, yes.
Okay, good. We're getting somewhere. And actually, I've heard similar analogies actually using an airplane, but butterfly is so much more beautiful. Okay, I love that. And I guess that's a good segue to the book, right? So
Yeah.
you've been in business, how long? Did you say 4 or 5 years?
I started in October of 2019.
Okay, so that's 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Okay. Math, see, I said math is in.
That's right. All right. I'm not bad at math. Okay. And very soon you came up with this butterfly metaphor and you've been building it and you've been offering you do all sorts of really fun and interesting things on LinkedIn, and maybe we'll get to those, or maybe we'll just save it for another podcast episode. But because I do want to get to the book, so you wrote a book. It's called The Butterfly Strategy: Transform Online Connections into Community and Clients. So how did the book come about? Tell us all about the book.
Well, that again, it started when you asked me to be on the 21-day challenge session, one of your sessions. I created that article. Well, as I was going along, that article actually became an engagement guide or a lead magnet. I like to call it an engagement guide. And the first version was there, but I was able to do a work from that. It expanded into a workshop. It expanded into a masterclass. And I now have version 3 of that original guide that is out on my website. And from that, as I was creating a special digital asset I was a sponsor for a conference last summer.
Ooh.
as I was working on creating this engagement guide that could be my contribution at this conference, it dawned on me that this could be a brand book. And by a brand book, I mean it's telling about what I do in book form. And that expanded into creating the book that just got published in February called The Butterfly Strategy. So I was very excited that I was able to create a book and an ebook. And I'm actually having someone read an audiobook for me.
Beautiful. And this is self-published, yes?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And so how hard is that?
Way more involved than I realized.
Oh, yeah?
There's a lot more behind the scenes than I ever knew. But the neat thing is, in the Butterfly Strategy, I talk about creating your community because I had created a community, because I had created business friends and I knew who did what their specialties were. I have a book because I had my brand book coach was Jessica Anderson. She was also my editor.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I couldn't do a book cover or lay out the interior, but I knew Tony Serafin could. As for publishing, I realized that was above my pay grade. That was too confusing for me. And honestly, I didn't want to learn the tech, but Diane Volek, who is an amazing publishing partner, she helped me get it published on Amazon and Ingram Spark and bookshop.org. So I have a book because I created a team of people who can help me.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no other way to do it, truthfully. And anyone who thinks there is wrong and needs to wake up. But sometimes we wake up by doing stuff and experimenting, right?
Yes. It was intense, but I'm glad I did it. And I can go through it now and go, oh, I should have said this, I should have said that. But I went with, it's good enough for now. At the moment, that is what it is. And it's not perfect, but it's out there. And hopefully it's helping people understand that the importance of building a community on LinkedIn.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to come back to some of the things you've said. You said you sponsored a conference, which
I was a sponsor.
A sponsor. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't say it right.
No. I may have misheard it, but either way, I am channeling my listeners, and I know that when they hear something like that, they think, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I could never do that. That must be super expensive. I'm not in a position. What? Oh, blah, like all of that, blah blah blah." So, tell me about this being a sponsor at a conference. What was the conference? How did this happen? How much did it cost? Was it worth it? Anything you can tell us.
I've actually been a sponsor at several conferences or summits.
What?
Because that is a way for me to get my name out. All of them have been under $1,000 or 1,000 or under. I don't do the top one. Usually they have tiers, and I pick like the bronze level or whatever. But if it's a conference I believe in and there's people there who I would like to get to know, I have found that is one way for me to share my name. And it gets me introduced to people I may not be introduced to otherwise. It has led to conversations with people that I probably would not have met if I had not been talked about at the summit or the conference or whatever. It's not my main way of marketing, but it's one way to do it in a way that I wouldn't normally do.
And I know you said you've done several, so I'm curious, are these the type of sponsorships where your name just gets mentioned, or you have a booth somewhere and people come to your booth? Or I have a client actually right now who is sponsoring a walk at a conference in June. So, I mean, there's so many different ways to sponsor, and I'm curious what you did.
Mine were, I did not have any booths. Mine were mentioned. My name was mentioned on stage. I was also included in the programs, and all my contact information was there. And like I said, there were digital, like my guide was included. They had a list of digital assets on one of the conferences. The other one, my book had come out. The most recent conference that I helped sponsor, that I was one of the sponsors at, the book had come out. So I had donated 3 copies to give away so that people could see that. And I had a full page ad in their program.
So you feel like this is effective because it gets you in front of people you wouldn't otherwise be in front of and creates opportunities that you wouldn't otherwise have.
I think, yes, I like I said, it's not my main way of marketing, but it's one way that I'm experimenting and testing out the market and seeing, like I said, I've gotten conversations from it that I probably would not have. And that to me is it's experimenting. And again, I'm selective on which conferences I do, obviously.
Can you give us an example of one or two of the conferences, just so people can get a sense of, oh, that's the kind of thing she's talking about?
Okay. Recently, Elaine Langford it was called She Steps Forward International, and it was a conference for Christian women entrepreneurs. I wasn't able to attend the conference, but I was able to, like I said, share my books as I think they gave them out as store prizes. I was also able to share. I had a full page ad in their program. I was able to give little special things. Yeah. Things given out. That's the word. Yeah. And it was just fun because I worked with Elaine. I knew we've been working together really closely, and it was fun to be able to support her conference, but also share in a way that I would never meet these. And I haven't met these people, but I have connected with them.
So that's also interesting that you can sponsor an event without actually attending, because I would think most people would assume they would have to attend.
Well, in this case, they were having the conference in Virginia, and I live in Iowa, and it didn't work out for me to be able to fly there. I'm hoping next year that I can go to the conference. But this year I wasn't able to, but I supported them from afar.
Good. No, that's awesome. And share a few other of because you keep saying it's not the main way. So what is the main way? Tell us about your main way of marketing your business. And then I'm going to ask you how business is, because that's kind of the elephant in the room.
Of course, it's the simplest marketing plan because I've used your incredible program for several years, and it has made a huge difference for me. And I have told people these are the 3 areas you really need to focus on. And in one way, I think the 3 tools in the SMP complement the butterfly strategy, because like your content marketing to me complements the right wing, which is content creation. And like your strategic networking, that complements the body of the butterfly, which is connecting. And then targeted outreach complements the left wing, which is commenting. And I don't know if you'd call this a tool per se, but I find it incredibly impactful that if you find a coach who you believe in, who will support you and encourage you, like you, as I said in the book, you believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. So I think the SMP is one way, but I also think finding a coach or someone else to support you and share ideas with is, like I said, that may not be a marketing tool per se, but it sure has impacted me.
And you know what you're making me think of, and I'm so glad, to hear the impact I've had, because often I don't really hear about it. But I do feel like my job is to see potential in people when they don't see it themselves. And I saw that in you. I see it in a lot of people. Most people don't believe it's there, even if I tell them it's there. And my way of telling them that it's there is to say, do this. All you got to do is this. All you got to do is this, but they don't do it. So you did. And I'm trying to use the butterfly analogy actually here. You flew away with it.
Yes, you have influenced me incredibly. So I thank you. I want to take this time to thank you for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. And all of this has happened in part because you believed in me. Lisa Mullis believed in me and helped me and coached me. So one thing that I would do if I was starting over that I would do differently is I would get one course, not 15, one course that would be the foundation, and then get a good coach, because I didn't at the beginning, and I took course after course after course after course, and half of them I haven't even completed. And it's the coaching that to me is one of the best marketing tools. To me, that is the foundation of it, because you have that one-on-one interaction, and they would, like you said, try this, give ideas when I was having the one-on-one coaching with you. And you gave me, sometimes I'd like, how is that going to work? Okay, but I have to try it, because I don't want to go back to you and say, I didn't do it.
That's right. That would be bad. I've got my whip over here that I use.
But it's just trying. And like I said, when you said have your business be a laboratory, be willing to try things. Well, I've tried things, and
how's
some
it
things,
working?
like I said, I went, I don't know if I want to do that anymore. And other things like, oh, that worked. Let's try that again. Let's do this.
So 2 questions there then, because I'm curious what didn't work, if you can remember, or maybe you're blocking those things out now, but what did you try that not really so much?
Let's see, what did sometimes some of at the beginning, I had a list of probably 15 different services that I could do. And I can do this and this and this. And I was trying to be everything to everybody. And as I'm looking at that list, and several people, I think you or Lisa or somebody else said, your list is too confusing. Nobody knows what you can do.
Yeah.
You need to, focus more. That has been in the making of what service do I really want to offer? What do I really want to do? And after trying a number of different things, it came down to, I want to help people share their message by writing an article, because that is one of my favorite formats for writing. Create an article that can be then repurposed into LinkedIn posts, into newsletter content, into resource on your website, a resource to send to people. So that is when I narrowed it down to what kind of writing do I want to do? Because there's all kinds I can do, but what's the one that I want to focus on? And it came down to article writing.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I hear underneath everything that you're saying, Val, is that it's taken you time, but you've learned to focus, whether it's on the services or on the niche, because I've seen you change your niche several different times, but it sounds like you've landed on one that feels comfortable to you.
Yes.
Or, taking too many courses, which my heart just sinks when I see people say, oh, I'm doing this, 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 and this. I'm like, oh my God, it's just too much. And this is starting to happen with AI a little bit too, when you get different answers from different perspectives, and then it's impossible to decide which makes the most sense for you because you don't know enough yet.
Right. And that's why I wish I had started with, my basic copywriting course to get the foundation, and then find a coach and start with a coach. To me, that, I kind of learned like as I went along, and then as I went, oh, I do need a coach. Oh, a coach can help me. But I wonder how, well, it is what it is. But
it is what it is.
That's, like I said, and then you have to get out there and be on LinkedIn and try things and post things. And, well, I didn't get a good response. Well, neither did I this time. Oh, well, we'll go on to the next one.
So you're not focused on the metrics.
No. In fact, somebody said, do you look at your analytics? And I said, no, that's numbers. No, thanks.
Yep. But when it's working and when it's not, right?
I go by the comments that are made to me.
And you get tons of comments, Val. I'm always so impressed by how big and engaged your community is. What do you attribute that to?
I have a wonderful community. And again, it goes back to just not having connections, but having people as connections. And I try to make sure I comment on their posts, try to let people know. And sometimes for some of them that have become, like I said, I try to create, instead of looking for people as clients, about, I don't know, a couple years ago, I started shifting to looking at them as, can they be a business friend? Because a business friend knows, likes, and trusts you. There's someone that could amplify your voice. Like with my book, I have several of my business friends have been promoting my book on
Mm-hmm.
their LinkedIn pages, which I really appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
That has made a difference because they're introducing me to people that I wouldn't have met otherwise. So to me, a business friend, while most of them won't become a client, they will be a resource. They will be a potential referral source. Like I said, someone to amplify your voice, someone maybe to talk to and say, hey, what do you think of this idea? Because I've done that before going, I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking of this. What do you think? And they'll say, no, or yeah, give it a try, or maybe do this. And having, like I said, business friends allowed me to create a team that helped me publish my book. I think having business friends makes a huge difference. And also then it's people you can support and encourage on LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
and who in turn will support and encourage you. And so make sure that you're not just expecting them to be commenting and you don't comment on their posts. So trying to
Right.
be engaged.
Yeah. No, I love that. And so, in a way, the other thing I'm hearing there in your attitude, which is amplified by the words and manifests in the words, is if your focus is on business friends, then the clients kind of are a byproduct of the interaction with the business friends. Do you think about it that way?
Yes, because like you've said many times, most people aren't going to be a client right then. But
Mm-hmm.
if you get to know them and they get to know you and they get to know what you do, then there may be a time when they're like, hey, I've had people come back to me 6 months, a year later and go, I want to talk to you now. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I want your help. And
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. And I was not, focusing on that.
Mm-hmm.
I've had conversations and the conversation is ended and I'm going, well, that was nice. And didn't think anything more of it. And 6 months later, she came back to me. I can think of one example where she came back to me and said, I'd like you to help me with my content
Mm-hmm.
creation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's being top of mind, like you've said, but in a way, serving first, giving value, getting to know people, being a friend.
And actually, the other thing that you're talking about there is what I call the power of forgetting, which is essentially where you have a conversation and then you forget about that person. Not entirely. You stay in touch, you keep commenting on them, but you're not waiting for them to give you something.
Right.
And then when they do come back, you're surprised and delighted because you weren't, oh my God, when am I going to get that thing?
Yeah. One book that has helped me in my business and how to create my business, it's called The Go Giver by Bob
Mm,
Berg and John David Mann. And when I read that, I went, oh, this is how I want to do my business.
mm-hmm,
Because they talk about giving first, they talk
mm-hmm.
about giving value, they talk about serving, getting to know the person as a person.
Yeah,
I
beautiful.
highly
All right.
recommend that book. That is one of my foundation books.
The Go Giver.
The Go Giver by Bob Berg and John David Mann, Mann.
Excellent. All right. Well, there's definitely going to have to be a part two to this because I didn't get to so many of my questions, Val. But we are going to have to wrap up. But I do want to know, how's business? That's my last question. How's business?
It's doing good. And what I like about it is there is diversity. Everybody's message is different, but it is so fun. It is so encouraging, so rewarding for me as I'm helping them create their articles. And we go through it line by line. So it's not what I think you should say, it's what you want to say. And I had one person say to me, okay, here's the article. Aren't you going to fix it? And I went, what
Mm.
do you mean? How am I going to fix it? And she goes, fix the grammar, fix my words. And I said, no. Number one, I'm not a grammar cop. And number two, this is who you are. This is what you are saying. She goes, you mean I can be myself and say
Mm.
it that way? And I said, absolutely. And she had the biggest smile on her face as she said,
Mm.
I can be myself and express it that way. And I said, yes, because it's your message and it's who you are. It's not who I think you should be or how I think the words should be, but it's in your voice and in your words. And her smile just lit up the room. And to me, that was like, yes.
Well, you know what that also is a good segue to one more question that I just thought of, which is, but aren't you afraid AI is going to take all your work away?
No, because AI can't write from the heart.
Love that. Beautiful. All right, Val, we're going to have to put that on a pillow or something. All right, tell the people where they can find you in your book, Val.
Okay, I am on LinkedIn at
Mhm.
Val Roskens, Roskens, Tews, Tews. And my website is butterflycopywriting.com, or my author website that talks about my book, The Butterfly Strategy, is under my name, valroskenstews.com.
Beautiful. All right. Well, this is awesome. And as soon as we hang up, we're going to schedule part 2.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I was so excited when you asked me. And again, thank you for all that you've done. As I said in the dedication, you believed in me, and I appreciate that so much. And I appreciate you. And I have learned so much from you. So I want to say, so everyone can hear, thank you to you.
Oh,
You have
thank
made
you,
a
Val.
huge difference for me.
That makes me so happy. Thank you so much. All right. Before I start crying, we're going to say goodbye. Bye.
Bye.
Isn't Val inspiring and impressive? I mean, even if you did just a bit of what Val is doing, it would take you very far. So why not try it? And if you want my help figuring all of this out, I hope you'll take advantage of my free mentoring session. You can find that and lots more resources, including my simplest marketing plan, at marketing-mentor.com. So enjoy, and I'll see you next time.